Hey, it's Tim Baldermann, and welcome to this edition of Too Honest for Social Media, where we talk about, in particular, local issues. That's what we're going to be discussing today. And there really is not a bigger local governmental entity in our town other than our local grade school district, 122. I'm fortunate to have with me today not only a wonderful superintendent, Dr. Lori Motsch, but also a good friend. I've known Lori for quite some time. Lori, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah, it's great to have you here.
Yeah.
We're going to get into all the good things about 122 and some of the questions that people ask. But
Okay.
why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your history and then your history here with the district?
Oh, sure. So this is my 34th year in education. And I have spent my entire career in the village of New Lenox. So I graduated from Illinois State University in 1991. And my first teaching job was right out of school, and Sister Clarita Schumacher at St. Jude hired me. Wow. And I still am in touch with her today. She's lovely. And she gave me my big break. So I worked there for a few years, and then I moved over to 122 in 1995. And everyone knows my story, my claim to fame. I taught at Schmuel School.
Yes, you did.
I am the person that taught at Schmuel School. So it's fun when I go into the classrooms because the kids are like, I'm like, do you have any questions? I tell them I taught at Schmuel, and they're like, because they take the great field trips there. And they say, were there cars back then? And I say, yes, in the 90s, there were cars. Yes. So I worked at Schmuel School. I taught kindergarten, and there were two kindergarten centers at the time, Schmuel School and this teeny little school on the Cherry Hill property. And that was the other kindergarten center. And so the population explosion happened, and we were building a kindergarten center on that property. So we moved Schmuel School, the staff at Schmuel, the big staff of 3 at Schmuel School moved over to Cherry Hill. They knocked down Cherry Hill and built the kindergarten center. The cool thing about that for me was as a teacher, as a kindergarten teacher, I got to help design that school. So it is a kindergarten building. Right. So I remained a teacher. I went back, got my master's in curriculum and instruction, and then someone nudged me and said, why don't you get into administration? And you know how that goes. You're like, okay. So went back, got my certification, became the assistant principal, and then when we opened the Spencer campus, I was appointed with my dream job as principal of Spencer Trail. And I was appointed the year before. I think you were on the board.
Yes.
The year before.
Yes, I was. Yes.
Right. And so I was able to, I was appointed the year before, so I was able to sit in on all the construction of that building. And we made some tweaks, but it was such a beautiful blueprint. So it's identical to Cherry Hill. Mm-hmm. So it's our second kindergarten center. I was principal there until I got my doctorate, and then I went over to the big office, HR director in 2017, and then started my first year as superintendent in 2020. So my superintendent colleagues called me a COVID baby.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I started my
That's quite a baptism by fire.
I mean, I didn't know any different. I just led during the pandemic. That was my first year. And then next year will be my last year in the district. So I'll retire. So I have so much gratitude. I feel so grateful that I was able to spend my career in a community that supports schools beyond the norm. The staff is like my family. Yeah. You have members of your family that are like my family. And then also our kids are incredible, and their families want the best for them. Yeah. So I am very fortunate in my career, and I'm grateful.
Yeah, you've had a great career here, and like I said, our paths crossed from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. I moved out here in 1994. Yes. And my 2 oldest kids did go to Schmuel School, as you know, and then my 3rd child was in the first kindergarten class at Cherry Hill. Yes. So we've been in sync all along. You've done a great job for us here, and let's talk a little bit about that. Like so many people, I moved out here in 1994 for the schools. Yes. You know, growing up on the south side and continuing to move south as so many of us did. And New Lenox had and continues to have that reputation for having great schools, a great education for people. So you see that. Let's talk about the population in your years here. It's grown. What are you seeing with the student population now at 122? Where are you at? How many kids?
We're at 5,000 kids.
5,000
We're
kids.
just shy of 5,000 kids. 5,000 kids, 12 school buildings. We also own 2 additional buildings, Haven, which when I taught at Schmuel, that was actually a school. That was the big school that we got to go to the assemblies to. But that's the district office. And then we own a shop off of Garnett. And that's just our, where we keep our equipment.
Sure.
So we own 14 buildings, and we stretch across 12 different schools, pre-K through 8th grade.
Yeah, that's tough. Now, with an ever-growing population, how difficult is it for you? And I remember from my time on there, we actually had to go through this once. When you look at the buildings and you look at the boundaries.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that's a tough one. So talk a little, because people say, oh, this school is closer to me. Why am I going there? How do you and the board work out the boundaries and where kids are going to go to school?
So my very first year, not only being superintendent was at COVID, but we were seeing a lot of growth on the south side. So the Spencer campus was filling up. So we actually did a boundary study. We used an analytics group, and they contacted actually Robin from the village, and we've been using them every year for like little tune-ups. And they actually gave us direction in our enrollment. We're doing great. We're doing great. We'll be great for about 5 more years.
Okay.
According to this, we were able to predict our full day kindergarten numbers with this, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
We will get into that. Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
And so we have seen growth. We're ready for growth. We're good in the next 5 years. We've got about 1,000 seats here or there. We can move and shift. We've spread out in our buildings. So, and that's helped us with full day kindergarten as well. But yes.
So talk about why that's important, though, because I know there have been a few times when boundaries have had to shift a little bit, and they will again in the future, of course, as growth continues to come. But why is it important that one campus not have 1,000 kids and another campus have 600
exactly.
kids?
Right. Well, we're constantly trying to be consistent and offer equal experiences. It's very difficult with 12 schools.
Yeah.
So we want, especially the campus models that we have. So we want our students and families to experience similar experiences, class sizes. We don't want to be holding class in a closet. Which I say that because when we built Spencer Trail at Cherry Hill, we redid the closets. And they were very nice.
They were safe. Yeah, right. Of course.
They were safe.
Yes.
But we want to make sure that we have equal experiences across the district.
Well, yeah, that's right. If you've got a 4 through 6 building, for example, that has 700 kids, and another one has 350 kids, kids that are in class sizes of 30, kids that are class size 24, you're going to upset a lot of people, and so you have to shift those boundaries.
We do.
And you have no say, of course, where people are going to build the next subdivision.
No, I don't.
You just have to deal with it. Yeah. So we talk about boundaries, and this is something that a lot of people really don't understand. School boundaries were in place long before village boundaries were in place.
Yes.
So New Lenox 122 doesn't just serve Village and New Lenox residents.
Correct.
Has unincorporated of New Lenox, and it also has where?
Mokina and Joliet.
Mokina and Joliet.
Yes.
And see, people don't always understand that. Now, they pay that property tax to you, but then it may be different. They may go to some may go to Lincoln Way, some may go to Joliet High School, some may be in the village, some may be in an unincorporated area. So, but that's the one constant is there in 122.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure you experience on a regular basis, as I know that good quality school districts do. Lincoln Way goes through it. I go through it at Union. Yeah. People that want to come to your school district, even though they don't reside there.
I know. They all want to come here.
They do. Yeah, they do. People move here for that reason. Yes. Does 122 allow paying tuition in for non-boundary students?
We don't at this time.
Yeah.
We make space for our programs. Back in 2013, and that's why Cherry Hill isn't a kindergarten center at this point in time, we took back all of our special education programs from the co-op. And those programs continue to grow, and we need to provide space for them. So we don't have the room or the space for other. Now, sometimes some of our special education programs do have some room, and kids will tuition into those, but only if our kids are serviced first.
Right.
So, no, we need that space for our kids.
Yeah, you definitely do. All right, so that's interesting because people do want to come into the district. So you took over special education as opposed to being a co-op.
Yes.
Which, as a superintendent, I would say the more you can control yourself, the better if you are able to do that. So good for you. Now you're going to all-day kindergarten another year. We'll talk about that in a minute because I know you served on a committee. You're going to have all-day kindergarten. You have a special ed population that's growing. It's growing everywhere. The special ed numbers are growing. And New Lenox continues to grow. So you say right now you've got room for about, another 1,000 kids?
We can... piece them in.
You can make it work. But depending on where they come and what they're doing,
there
you may
would be
have to
some
shift
boundary
again.
shifting. There would be some boundary shifting. There would be some, some creative ideas maybe with the grade levels. We would have to see.
You have to see what you have to do.
Nothing in the near future, but down the road.
But
perhaps.
definitely down the road. Yeah, we're at a population just in town now of about 30,000 people. When it's all said and done, long after you and I are gone, because people say, oh, you're going to be at 90,000. Yes, one day, New Lenox will be at probably 90,000 people. It'll take a long time to get there. So clearly there's going to be a need for the schools to adjust and the parks and everything else. We're going to talk about how that happens and the funding and financing of that, which is always on people's minds. But before we do, let's get into all-day kindergarten.
Sure.
Something that people have talked about. There are people who are opposed to all-day kindergarten.
I
think it's too long of a day.
I
right?
did receive as soon as we announced it. So the history of full-day kindergarten in and our decision came from a House bill that was passed in 2023.
Okay.
And it mandated that all schools would have to provide full-day kindergarten by the year 27-28. Now, as soon as this bill was being talked about, I attended every single meeting there ever was until it became a mandate. I was excited at first because I noticed that there were appropriations attached to it, and then I quickly learned that those had been taken away. Yeah. So very, very quickly, and the bill passed quickly. So I knew it was our fate. I started talking to the board right away. I started complaining a bit because it was an unfunded mandate and it was going to cost us. I mean, we would have loved to have full day kindergarten for years.
Sure.
You have to hire double teachers and you have to find the space.
Right.
So those were our two issues. And so I started complaining a bit. And the Illinois State Board of Education put me on the full day kindergarten task force. And I was on that we met for 2 years, and we dug into research about why this is a good thing. And I think they were tired of me complaining because they did offer a waiver but it's only for 2 years. So I think that's the Lori Motsch waiver that they were like, please, can you get this lady to stop complaining about this unfunded part of this mandate? I think it's great for kids. I think it's awesome. I think that our community has wanted it for many, many years. We lost a couple hundred kids at COVID, so we were able to spread out and we can make it work now. And so we're excited about it. When I did speak to the board about it, we entertained the waiver, but since you have to do it anyways and costs are increasing, they said just pull off the Band-Aid. Let's do it when the mandate says we have to do it.
So what is the cost? It is another unfunded mandate, which is typical for the state of Illinois. It doesn't just happen to schools. It happens to villages and everywhere else. What is the cost to the district for full-day kindergarten?
The first year is an additional $2.9 million, and then $1.8 every year after.
So essentially $3 million and $2 million every year after that.
So currently we have 18 sections of kindergarten and 9 teachers. We will need in 27, 28, 21 sections and 21 teachers. Plus, we will need additional special education teachers. We'll need some fine arts teachers. We'll need recess lunch supervisors, all of those things. Those are the most costly items to a school district's budget.
Sure.
80% of salary and benefits, that takes up our entire budget. So it is a very costly initiative. It's well worth it. We can move some things around. We've been paying cash for our capital projects for years and years and years. We're going to not pay as much cash for our capital projects.
Right.
So we're shifting. We're shifting to accommodate this. We're very excited about it.
Well, I get, yes. But ironically, although full-day kindergarten now must be offered by school districts, kindergarten is still not mandatory for kids. They don't even have to come.
It is not.
Yeah.
So it is.
it's kind of ironic that the state says it's so important that you must offer it, but I guess it's not that important that kids must attend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Illinois
and it is tricky too because for the longest time we hadn't received the Preschool for All grant. We were considered a preschool desert. We applied for the grant. We received funding for it recently, a few years ago, 2 years ago. I believe this is our second year of funding. I wish that money would be used towards kindergarten.
Right.
I mean, we'll take the Preschool for All grant money. Like, that's great. That's helping our cause. But what about kindergarten?
Exactly.
So, I mean, and Preschool for All is wonderful. I'm very happy we have the program. It's great that it's state funded. I think it's amazing, but that was a very large unfunded mandate.
Yes, and there are a lot of unfunded mandates, as we said. Matter of fact, here, it's difficult as the mayor. We've worked for years to give a property tax rebate. We worked it all the way up to 100%. And now with all of the development that we have going on, and the state continues to take away, and now the governor says he's going to take away more local government distributive funds to us and to other municipalities, we're not able to offer that because of these unfunded mandates that the state keeps putting on us. So, in particular, we talk about public education.
Yes.
The state constitution in Illinois says that the state of Illinois is responsible for funding the majority of public education. I think we both know from being in education, majority's got to be at least 50.1%, right?
Yes.
So 50% of your budget, which is what, $76 million?
Yes.
All right, $76 million. 50% of your budget, which would be $38 million. $76 million budget, $38 million should come from the state. How much are you getting from the state?
We're getting 8%. So right now, we're getting $5.7 million.
All right, so you're getting less than $6 million. So they're shorting you $32 million a year if you look at that state constitution.
Yes, they are.
Now, everybody in Illinois rightfully is upset about property taxes. We have the worst property tax structure in the entire United States. We even passed New Jersey.
Because it has to fund schools.
44% roughly goes to the grade school district, but between grade school, high school, and college, local college, community college, you're talking about 70+% of your tax bill.
Yes.
Just imagine your 44%, what you would do if you were getting the $32 million a year that you're supposed to get from the state of Illinois,
It would be amazing.
But you can't. And so people get upset. They look at the schools. You're the second largest employer behind Silver Cross in our community. You have how many employees to work for you?
We have 600 full-time employees and 179 substitute teachers.
Okay. All right, 600
and they're pretty much
full-time.
working a lot.
Full-time, sure, of course.
Right.
Sure, you've got maternity leaves, you've got illness,
yes.
you've got all horrible things that come up.
Yes.
So you've got almost 800 employees, 600 of which are full-time that require benefits and everything else. They have to be in a pension program, and people get upset about pensions, but in Illinois, if you're in education, you don't have the right to opt out of a pension. You're required to be in it.
Yes.
So
pay into your pension.
Exactly. So all the people that make the rules get a free pass. All the people that are living by the rules are getting criticized for it constantly. And that's the difficult thing. So we are a tax cap state, so you can go up to 5% in your levy. And people say, why are you levying to the max all the time? So why are you always levying to 5%?
Well,
talk a little bit about that.
We levy the full amount because it's based on CPI and new property, and CPI, the inflation increases, our costs increase as well. So the minute you don't pass the full levy, you're losing that revenue while your expenditures continue to grow.
That's right.
So you will be behind the 8 ball and you'll never recoup that money.
You'll
never recoup it. So it's very important. I will give a plug to our CSBO, our Chief School Business Official. He does an exceptional job explaining the tax levy. All of the documents are on our website. Tune into the board meeting.
Yeah.
He can break it down so everybody can understand. But I encourage taxpayers to pay attention to that presentation because it explains how much money the school district will lose if we don't pass the full levy.
In perpetuity, because although there has been proposed legislation that went nowhere saying that if you levied less and then in the future you needed more, you could make up for it, they wouldn't pass that.
No.
So now you lose it in perpetuity. You never get that money back.
You'll never get it back.
Ever.
It's just like once we go full day kindergarten, tack on that 1.8 every year.
Forever. After the initial $3 million.
After the 2.9, then tack on the 1.8.
That's right. That's exactly right. And not only that, if you don't levy to the max, then you're not capturing all the new property that comes on. And in a town like New Lenox or a district like yours, there's a lot of new property that you need to capture.
Very excited about the new property.
We like to give you new property without kids. That's helpful.
That's amazing. Yes.
How about, let's talk about something else that's really a national problem is busing. So you talked
Yes.
about when I was on the school board.
Yes.
That's when we made the changes. There were failed referendums. We decided no more referendums. What we did was we made some internal changes. One of the things we did was we outsourced busing to the high school.
Great
Worked out well.
decision.
Yeah,
Great decision.
Worked out well. However, after COVID, there is a national shortage of bus drivers.
There's a national shortage of bus drivers, and right now the funding for, we call them the mandated state categorical grants, and we get reimbursement, and the reimbursement is prorated. And now it's prorated even more this year. So we are losing an additional $1.3 million for our reimbursement for our transportation, general education, special education, and our outplacement of students as well. So I say all of that to say transportation's been tough.
Yeah.
It's been tough. Luckily for us, just as we have wonderful partners in the village, we are a wonderful partner with Lincoln Way 210.
Yeah.
I am very grateful that we know our drivers. We can communicate with them, but they're having a hard time too.
Sure.
And so we get a lot of complaints. Our buses are crowded.
Sure. Yeah.
But they have to be like that. That's what we have to do right now.
Right.
In regards to transportation, but it's a nationwide issue.
It is, and they run late because I know with Lincoln Way, they're awesome. They're helping all the feeder schools. They're taking care of everybody. Thank God they are.
Yes.
But those bus drivers, they're doing one route, then they have to drop kids off and go do another route in a whole nother school district. I mean, they're constantly going back and forth. Being a bus driver is a more difficult job than people think.
Yes.
They do the best they can, but it has been a problem.
And we're on the 3-tier system, which we thought would help. We don't want to go to a 4th tier.
No, that's
we
tough.
absolutely do not. But and we will do everything we can to communicate to our parents when the buses are late. It's just a national problem.
It is.
And I don't know how to fix that one.
Well, if you figure it out, there's a lot of other people that would like to talk to you because, like I said, it's happening everywhere in every state across the country.
The only thing we can do is love up our bus drivers. Like, we just love them up so much that, they love working for Lincoln Way and they love coming to our schools.
Yeah, that's with all the things that 210 has going on, busing, I know, is one of their biggest challenges that they have. But we're very fortunate that they're willing to still work with all the feeder schools.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah,
I know.
because that would be a real problem for the rest of us.
We're already starting to talk to them about full-day kindergarten. They don't really want to hear about it, but it's okay.
But it's coming.
It's coming. They're going to do it for
That's
us.
it.
I just know it.
Now, one of the other things that had been talked about is the federal government has this tax credit program.
Okay.
And I know you're aware of it, but for those that aren't, it's no federal money, but anyone that's willing to donate money to a not-for-profit organization that supplies scholarships for kids can get a federal tax credit. Coming up, I think now on the majority of the states have already approved that. Here in Illinois, they haven't done that. They're a little reluctant. You know me, there's no bullshit. I'm going to cut right through this. Yeah. What it really boils down to is teachers' unions, and primarily fueled by Chicago, where they're bleeding enrollment left and right, don't want to see this because they feel that those scholarship dollars will be used by people to take their kids out of the public school and put them in a private school. But in reality, yes, it can be used for that, but it can also be used for public school kids to get extra tutoring, can be used for special education parents to be able to get some extra supports. Yeah. It's a state issue. It's not something we can do locally or you can do at your local district. But how do you feel about this proposal?
I mean, I feel that anytime you're going to help out schools at any level, we'll take it.
Yeah, you're helping kids.
We just need to help kids. We just need to help schools. And I think we've talked about so many unfunded mandates and how they're not funding. And if someone's going to throw funding at us, we'll figure out a way to use it.
That's right. That's how it should be, right? I mean, that's the way it should be. It's the way it should be. So in the individual people will get these scholarships. And if you or I decided to make the donation, we just get a federal tax. So it's not even that the government's giving any money. It's people of their own heart giving this money to get a tax credit. But it's all about helping kids. Yes. Now, homeschooling has exploded.
Yes.
Not necessarily here,
Yes.
but it's exploded around the country.
Yes, it is.
Especially post-COVID.
Yes.
So you've lost about how many kids to homeschooling?
About 300.
Okay, about 300
About
kids.
300, which gave us a little breathing room,
Right.
actually.
Yeah. All right. So about 7.5% of your kids, because you
Yes.
you were at 5,000.
Yeah, like
you were
6%.
6%.
Yep.
6% of your kids went to homeschooling. I think we would both agree that, first of all, parents have a right to do what they want to do with their
Yes.
kids when it comes to education.
Yeah.
And so if they feel better to having their kids at home and homeschooling or in a micro school or at a private school, whatever, good for
Yes.
them. That's their right. But I think sometimes, especially with the craziness of social media, which is why we do this,
Sure.
and the wild rumors and stories that get out there, people take their kids out of schools. One of the big things that happened during the last federal administration was everyone said, oh, critical race theory, all of these things are going to be taught to my kids in the public schools that I don't want them to hear. So in 122, are there any programs, is there anything that the board has introduced that you and your staff have introduced in the classrooms beyond the core curriculum?
Oh, we've been teaching the basics since I've been here and probably prior. We follow the Illinois state standards, and actually, I did bring in the topic of social studies. This is what we teach.
Okay.
It's a state. This is what the state tells us we have to teach: U.S. and world history, civics and government, geography, economics, and the study of historical events, movements, and individuals. That's what we teach.
So you right.
That's
Now,
what we teach. That's what we have to teach. That's what we teach. And if you ask any teacher in any content area what they want more of, they're going to say time to teach their content area.
Sure.
There's no time to teach anything else. Nothing else is being taught.
Right.
But we did, because of that, we did set up a process, a curriculum objection process. Typically what happens if somebody's getting a little bit nervous, especially if we're looking at a textbook of some sort,
Sure.
they'll come, we'll put them on display, parents will come. Typically, we don't even have to give them the form. They talk to Dr. Marian Cucci. She's our assistant superintendent of curriculum. She explains what we're actually teaching, and parents don't even fill out the curriculum objection form. So I think that if you are nervous about that in a public school, you just need to ask the curriculum director, what are you teaching? But
that's great advice.
Here we're teaching the basics. We are focused on student achievement.
Right.
That is
Right.
what we want to see grow. Student
Right.
achievement. So
And I think that what happens, you always hear about the horror story that pops up somewhere. When there's a bad police officer that does something, you forget about the hundreds of thousands of good ones that are doing a good job. But when something comes up where you have an individual teacher somewhere in the country that is espousing their own personal views and twisting things in there, everybody hears about it. So they're concerned that that's happening in every public school across America. You're not getting any of those complaints from teachers. You're not getting any of those complaints from parents. You're just doing what you're required to do, the mandates. And
we're doing the state mandates. One thing that, and just to circle back to kindergarten again, one thing that I'm so excited about with the full day is that we'll have time to play.
Yeah,
so that is what we're missing in our kindergarten program right now. We play a little bit, but it's 2.5 hours. It's like we have to teach them to read. So I can't wait to play, because what we're seeing in schools, those conflict resolution skills, less time on the devices. We're putting the iPads away at kindergarten. We're putting them with the primary principals begged me, please, let's not send these iPads home anymore, so we don't. I'm like, but they're such a big investment. But they're seeing after COVID, like, we don't want them to have the screen time at school.
Right.
They have enough screen time at home. So I'm excited to see this implementation of adding play back into the curriculum and see the impact that it's going to have.
Sure. And you and I both know it's called purposeful play.
Yes.
It's not just play.
Yes.
There's a purpose behind it. All the things you
so
just talked
good.
about, conflict resolution and that, there's a purpose behind it. It's not just free time.
You got to play the game, and then you got to lose the game sometimes.
That's
and
right.
It's okay.
Well, that's something that a couple generations have not, with the invention of the participation trophy, you people forgot that it's okay to lose every once in a while. There are lessons.
Sometimes we got to battle it out on the playground.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I will tell you as the mayor, I moved out here in 94 for the schools, for 122 and 210. 5 of my children have gone through here. I have grandkids in the district now. My wife and all my kids went through Lincoln Way. So my kids stay in this area because of the education for their children. And that's the nice thing. Our town continues to grow. As you know, we talk about this. Our village is really successful because the village, the schools, the parks, the library, the fire protection, the township, we all get along.
Yes.
We all pull in the same direction. So I want to say thank you for that. I want to say thank you to you and your team for everything you do, for providing this great education for our kids, great opportunities for our kids. They're very successful. They're doing very, very well. You're helping our town grow. You're helping our property values go up, which people don't like because they think, oh, it's more in taxes. But as we've discovered here again today, it's not anything that you're doing. It's a failed state formula that's really driving those property taxes. But you're doing great work for us. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Anything else that you want to add or talk about?
I do, and I say this often at the various events that I attend, but I just want to thank this community because as the superintendent, the school staff, we work every day, 24/7, taking care of kids. But our entire village takes care of our kids.
Yeah.
And that is very special. And I'm just grateful. So thank you.
Well, very good.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here today and joining me. It was a lot of fun and very informational.
Like a full circle moment
It's
from
good
when we
stuff.
first met at Schmool School.
That's
to
right. Yeah.
end of career.
32 years ago. Oh my God. Well, we're getting, well, you're not. I'm getting old. That's for sure.
I am too. I am too.
Well, you hide it better than I do. But thank you again, Lori, to you, your
thank
board,
you.
your staff, everything you do.
Thank you.
And as always, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this edition of Too Honest for Social Media.
Stealing your life away, denial defines the fall. Choose your fate from hate to the black hole. Either way, the fire escape is closed. You're the first.